Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. So before we commence with tonight's fantastic event, which is called Art for University, I would first like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting today. Me personally, I'm on the land of the Gadigal, but given that tonight's event is virtual, so you may be anywhere, so I would like to ask you to take a moment to reflect on the land on which you are on. Art for Australia acknowledges Australia's First Nations peoples as the traditional owners and custodians of the land and gives respects to the elders past and present, and through them to all the Aboriginal and also Torres Strait Islanders peoples. My name is Aina, and I'm Art for Australia's New South Wales Director by night. During the day, I'm a data scientist at KPMG. Now, before we kick off, let me quickly clarify some of the terminology that we are going to be using tonight. Number one is first and family. It's a shorthand term used to describe people that are the first in their family to go to the university. Next is CALD or C-A-L-D. It will be an abbreviation for culturally and linguistically diverse. Then OFA, this is us, Out for Australia. And we are LGBTQIA plus organization with the mission of helping young LGBTQIA students and young professionals to be their authentic selves in the workplace. And actually the key way in which we do it is through our free mentoring program called Mentorloop. It's online, it's very easy to sign up. So if you're looking for advice in regards to your career, this is a really good place to get started. You are all, using Google, just Google Out for Australia Mentorloop and it will come up. So now back to today's event, and the format will be such that we will have a speaker event with first speaker, Nicole, who will share some eye-opening research findings about LGBTQIA people living in Greater Western Sydney, followed by 4 other speakers, George, Adrian, Maria, and Adam, sharing their own lived experiences, which are at the intersection of either being the first to go to the university in their family, being culturally and linguistically diverse, also LGBTQIA, or all of the above. So our first speaker for tonight is going to be George. George, I'm going to throw over to you. Thanks.
Thank you so much for inviting me to be here. I feel privileged to be here. I'm a social worker and I'm a lecturer at Western Sydney University and originally from the United States. I've written several articles about being queer and first in family. Willard and Eva Turner were my parents. My mom never graduated high school and my dad dropped out of uni. My dad was a truck driver, my mom a waitress. They were hardworking, loving parents. They provided the bedrocks of my values, of who I am. They taught me how to be resilient against adversity. They taught me tenacity and how to work hard. They gave all that they had to provide a life for me that I have, but they had no idea how to support me to pursue uni. And a few themes that I might want to share with you, just kind of that from that experience, was that I remember going to uni was an escape for me. And I realized very early on that my parents didn't have a lot of money. And not only were they not able to help me navigate all the challenges of getting into university, but they literally did not have any luggage for me to pack my clothes. And that was because we never took vacations and they worked all the time. And so packing to go to university meant I threw all my clothes into large black trash bags and put them in my car. And I headed off to university. And I realized that being in the closet, there was silence, and it meant that I was not able to share much of my career aspirations or awards at university. It meant that when I got an internship, I was silent about that because it was an internship providing HIV education in gay bars. It meant when I got an award for that internship and I got to go to a conference, I was silent. And it was that silence that really resonated with me as being someone who survived and was a part of the 80s and the HIV pandemic. There was a popular phrase, silence equals death. And I took that slogan to my family and I said, I am dying in silence. Our relationship is dying in silence. We have nothing to talk about because I have chosen to not share my life with you. And I can't do that any longer. We are only left with talking about safe topics such as the weather. And going to university, being first in family, I realized that while my family was proud of me and supportive, it was kind of a double-edged sword. They were also unsure of who I was becoming. They were unsure about what college was, and they didn't know what it meant for me to go off and learn all these things. I began to see the world differently. I was becoming a scholar, and with every unit I took at university, with every semester that I was enrolled, I felt the divide between my family and me growing larger. It felt as if as I was growing, I was leaving my roots, I was leaving my family. And that was really painful for me. And it felt like I was abandoning them. My siblings, I know, were very proud of me, and they labeled me the smart one. But that was also a tongue-in-cheek, because as siblings are, sometimes they like to make fun of you a little bit. And I felt that it was both a sense of pride, but it was also a painful label. And finally, I think the last theme for me was that as I grew in my career as first in family and as a queer man, I've never gotten over this feeling of feeling like an imposter, that somehow I didn't belong, that I wasn't smart enough, that I wasn't good enough. And that still happens sometimes today, even in faculty meetings with my peers, that I listen to them and I wonder, why am I here? Can I do this work? Am I made for it? And finally, I just would share that for me, I think going to uni and navigating that journey was probably one of the scariest things I've ever done, but it was also one of the best things I've ever done. It changed the course not only of my life, but it changed the course of my family, because now I have nieces and nephew who are going off to university because maybe I was the first to lead that road. Thank you.
This is an awesome story, George. Thank you for sharing. I wanted to ask actually, so you were saying that in some way you going to the university was, yes, to pursue your aspirations in terms of the career, but also to kind of find yourself to get away from this environment where silence was the default. Would you mind reflecting a bit on your thought process at the time of how you decided, like, that's it, I'm going to the university and, you know, I'm going to be there, my authentic self, or whatever it is that was going through your head?
You know, there was probably a lot of different things. I was running from a relationship that had just ended. That probably helped launch my academic career. And I realized that I needed to do something drastic. I was drowning. I was not reaching my potential, and I knew it. The expectation was that I would follow and do work that was available in the community, and that wasn't what I wanted to do. And so I didn't know how, but I knew I needed to do something. So I felt just launching into something was better than drowning. And so I just took the biggest, the boldest step I could and thought, I'll figure it out on the way. And essentially that's what I've done ever since. Whenever there was a obstacle, whenever there was a challenge, I figured it out. It was scary because I thought I had to have it all figured out at first, but you really don't. You can figure it out along the way.
Thanks for this, George. So this is really awesome. It sounds like, when you've got something in front of you and it's really scary, just do it. Take it day by day, and eventually you'll get there. So thanks for this.
There's a quote that, and I won't do the quote right, but sometimes you learn how to fly on the way down.
Yeah, that's a good one. Thanks for this, George. Bye, everyone.